Right, hello. So today we're going to try and focus on corners and bends, or bends and limit points, whichever you prefer to call it, and obviously predominantly we're going to be applying these to country lanes. So first things first, we need to know a little bit about description and terminology, just because there's numerous different ways that you can read up about how to deal with country lanes and stuff, but essentially it does boil down to the limit point itself. I'm going to give an example that I use when I'm teaching, that's been taught to me and is a good method of basically breaking them down into two systematic areas. So we're basically looking at analysing what the bend itself is doing, and once we've identified what the bend is, then we can identify the limit point. So generally speaking, there are 8 types of bends, of which we use 6 types of words. Depending on the severity of the bend is going to be the first 2 words that we will use. So if a bend is less than 90 degrees, it is deemed to be acute. If it's more than 90 degrees, then it is gradual. So by using those 2 words, gradual or acute, gives us a denotion of the severity that we can expect a bend to be. Just going to negotiate this hazard whilst we're coming through Dunmow Town Centre here. We're in shoulder check positions, coming out around Royal Mail, coming back in now. Next 2 words we're going to use are going to be to describe how open a bend is, so whether or not we can see the way out of it or we can't, so whether or not it is blind or open. Quite simple words. And the next 2 words that we're going to use are all to do quite simply with whether it's going to the left or going to the right. So to give an example of a bend, you might have a gradual blind left, a gradual blind right. It might be an acute blind left, an acute blind right. This could be an acute open right, an acute open left, so on and so forth, depending on what we're looking for. So checking the mirrors, just going to deal with this roundabout here. Signal right, just because it's just off at 12 o'clock. Checking the mirrors, signal left as we exit, and cancel signals down. Because what we'll look to do is we're coming out of Dunmow Town Centre quite shortly. We're going to be picking up a series of bends to apply this to. So that's talking about the bend. So generally speaking, if we think GB, think Great Britain, yeah, more often than not, most bends we're going to encounter are going to be gradual and blind. We're not going to be able to see out of the bends, we're going to be able to see into them, although we're going to be looking to get as much vision out of the bend as possible. And generally speaking, they're going to be gradual and blind. Road engineers don't tend to make too many bends acute, mainly because people negotiate them wrongly, and obviously they have a moment in terms of where safety factors can be drawn in. So we're basically looking towards heading right now towards the roadings. So coming out of Great Dunmow, checking my mirrors, keeping the forward box fan there, bottom mirror check, shoulder check, and coming around here. Okay, so predominantly we're just going to talk system when we're applying it to bends. Let's remind ourselves of what the system of car control is. Well, Roadcraft defines a system of car control on page 25, chapter 2. As a way of approaching and negotiating hazards, it's methodical, safe, and leaves nothing to chance. Involves careful observation, early anticipation, and planning, and a systematic use of the controls to maintain vehicle stability in all situations. The system consists of processing information and 4 phases: position, speed, gear, acceleration. Each phase develops out of the one before. Processing information, by taking, using, and giving information, introduces the system and continues throughout. It will be my intention of demonstrating the system of car control to you today and applying that system to bends. So just raising my vision as we're coming through here, coming into a national speed limit gate now, so checking all 3 mirrors, shoulder check beforehand, drive sport is initiated, and picking up the drive. Slight loss of vision as we come over the hill crest here. Warning for series of bends, mirrors, reduce speed now, slow in the carriageway, and a series of bends is for 3/4 of a mile. Mirror near side position into a gradual blind right. Just maintaining the drive as we come round here, looking to keep this limit point matched for me. Checking that now, nice and safe behind me, got the one towards, nothing behind mirrors. Slight loss of vision as we come over the hill crest into a gradual blind left, and then running limit point. Mirrors are picking up the drive. Warning for a series of bends for the next 1/4 of a mile. Checking the mirrors. Loss of vision, slow in the carriageway, and the road seems to deviate to the left. In fact, it does with the white-topped finger posts, so they're white-topped for left, and they'll be red-topped for a right. Keeping the limit point matched now. Coming around this gradual blind left. Into a gradual blind right now. Mirror near side position. Limit point is still opening for me, so I'm happy to maintain, if not increase this speed. So we position on bends for 3 reasons. We position for our safety, view and stability when looking at a right-hand bend. When we're dealing with a left bend, we may need to sacrifice that position for safety. So we're not really positioning for safety, we're going to do so for view and our stability. If we need to sacrifice that position for safety, we will not then re-adopt the position that we went back round to. So as an example, if we come into a left bend and I come out towards the crown of the road, I've got an obstruction towards me, got the Land Rover towards, so mirror near side position. I'm just staying where I am now. Now that I've stayed where I am, I won't go back out towards the crown of the road, only to have to come back in again. Checking my mirrors, nice and safe behind me at the moment, vision up. Looks like a gradual blind left in the distance. Warning for accompanied horses or ponies, backed on amber. And looks like we've got a junction coming up to the near side as well. Reduce speed now, slow in a carriageway for an associated or secondary danger. Checking the mirrors, nice and safe. Picking up the drive. Firming up the drive now, happy with the inactive junction. And maintaining this speed as we come through here. Checking my mirrors, are nice and safe behind me. I've got one on a long sort of approach there, 2 in fact. You can just see the headlamps now, mirrors. Coming back in. And got warning for an advanced warning here. Looks like flood potentially. Yes, so maybe just the air. There's the surface water. So it looks like it's been coming in over the right field here. It's been coming across the carriageway. Not a problem for me at the moment. Very mindful of vehicles that might be coming towards the centre of the road to avoid the puddles. Got a junction coming up to the right, slowing the carriageway, vision up, scanning into that carriageway now, so we're into that junction. It is safe, there's nobody waiting to emerge, mirrors, and picking up the drive on the exit away from it. So 60 miles an hour, so we've got to play with down here, just sticking within legal limits. So we're travelling at 60, in a 60. Very mindful, we're travelling at 60 miles an hour, dry level, good conditions. My overall stopping distance is 240 feet, and I'm travelling at 90 feet per second. Approaching a 40 mile an hour speed limit gate, so mirrors and gently brake, off brakes now and entering the 40 at 40. Going to come out of drive sport, back into normal drive settings, just maintaining 40 as we come through this single carriageway, 1 lane in either direction, separated by a white hazard warning line. Contrary to rule 127 of the highway code, mirrors nice and safe behind me. Just raising my vision now as I come through here, just maintaining that 40 mile an hour discipline. Do have some secluded entrances and driveways to the near side and offside. Should only talk of them as and when they become active. Checking the mirrors and got another change of posted speed limit coming in. I can do this one on acceleration sense. Just gently off the accelerator, nice and early, and I'm into the 30 at 30. Roadcraft defines the acceleration sense as the ability to vary your vehicle's speed in response to changing road and traffic conditions by accurate use of the accelerator, so you use your brakes less, not at all. It's maintaining 30 through this single carriageway. Got numerous potential hazards to the near side and offside. Got the thatched cottages and secluded entrances. It is nice and safe in the main. Road conditions generally are quite favourable in the centre of the road. There is some slight surface water pooling to the near sides, but in the main they are still favourable. Just maintaining that 30 miles an hour as we come through here. Again, very mindful, 30 miles an hour, overall stopping distance is 75 feet, and I'm travelling at approximately 45 feet per second. So just coming out of the village of High Roading now, raising my vision out of the village, I can see a change of speed limit gates. Got one towards me, none behind me in the mirrors, just maintaining that discipline at the moment to keep that 30 miles an hour in check. So it's approaching a slight change of speed limit gate into the 40, checking all 3 mirrors, shoulder check for those motorcyclists, it is safe behind me. And just bringing the drive up to 40 miles an hour. Got some slight potholes and other bits and pieces. Got the Mini that's just emerged from the left junction. Brake lights now, they're taking the dog leg left and right thereafter. Got 2 threatening. They may scarper his progress to turn across. Looks like he's got a good gap developing after this grey one. Mirrors and light brakes for me, gently off now. I'm going to give myself ample time to let him negotiate the hazards. Checking my mirrors as I'm now coming into a change to a national. Engaging drive sport, checking all 3 mirrors, shoulder check, and picking up the drive. Firming up the drive into a more than matched running limit point. A little bit of dead fox or something in the carriageway there. Mirrors nice and safe behind me, and briskly up to 60 miles an hour. So I'm raising my vision up here. Looks as though a little bit of dead ground to be made up. Just waiting for that road to open. It has opened now for me, mirrors. Got a black one coming out behind me and has moved towards the left. Got deflection arrows in the carriageway. And vision up into a gradual blind right. Mirror near side position. Position is correct. Maintain this speed. Now link the bends to a gradual blind left. Mirror shoulder check position out towards the crown of the road. Maintaining this speed as we come around this curved path, mirrors. Near side position into a gradual blind right. Raising my vision up to this limit point. It is still opening quite nicely for me. Into a gradual blind left. Deflection arrows bringing me back into the left. Staggered junctions. First to the right. Scanning left and right, nice and safe. Checking my mirrors, progressing away from the hazards now. Vision up to a change of road speed. It's a 40 mile an hour, mirrors and light brakes. Progressively firmer braking, gently off and taper that now and entering the 40 at 40. Checking the mirrors, out of drive sport, back into normal drive, and raising my vision up to red. So we've identified words to associate bends themselves. Gradual, acute, blind, open, left, right. That's our sort of combination of the 6 words that we're going to use to describe the 8 types of bends. In terms of limit points themselves, generally speaking, we're going to define them in 4 types of limit point. Static limit point, creeping, matched, or running. Static limit points where basically both sides of the road don't appear to be moving away from you. So as you're coming down towards that bend, neither side of that road is opening for you. You're getting no more vision around that. So you're going to need to do one of 2 things. You're certainly going to need to reduce speed. How you do that in one of 2 ways. Initially by acceleration sense, lifting off the accelerator nice and early, or if required, making use of the brakes. Move firmly and progressively in a tapered method to get your speed right. As the limit point starts to move for you, so let's just say this is a gradual blind right that we've got at the moment, so I'm casting my attention towards the near side edge. As I'm looking down the road now, I can see the road starts to open, and as it opened up for me, it went from a creeping, where it was giving me a little bit more information, to a matched, where my road speed is the same as the speed that it's physically opening. And then if the bend itself is running, i.e. I can see far more of the road than the speed at which I'm carrying, then I can deal with that accordingly and increase my road speed. So if we, and again, different schools of thought on the methodology of what we can say about limit points or how to define them. There is an intermediary phase you can use up from static and creeping matched, more than matched before it begins to run, and this is almost an intermediary between basically where you're getting more information to afford you to be able to drive quicker. So checking my mirrors, I'm approaching a roundabout now, and I've got a gradual blind right, or road deviates to the right, mirror near side position, road ahead closed warnings. Checking my mirrors, it's my intention of turning right, so checking mirror, signal right, position is correct, reaffirm that signal as it cancelled, waiting for red to go out and settle, down to the roundabout, keeping that right signal on. I've got the BMW coming in from the right hand side, no signal from him, it was a late one, now the Land Rover signalled, final mirror checks, shoulder check, and apply the correct degree of acceleration to negotiate and leave the hazard safely. Checking my mirrors, into a gradual blind left, subject to 30 miles an hour down here, so very little progress to be made. I'm 29 miles an hour in a 30 at the moment. Got the presence of bus stops down here, so we may encounter some of those and slow in the carriageway from associated danger. Got a black Mazda quite close following behind me, clearly not happy with me doing 30 in a 30. And we've got a deviation of route down here as the road bends to the left. Checking my mirrors, got a one towards, one behind, and into a series of bends now as the road deviates to left and then right thereafter. Still subject to 30 miles an hour, so showing restraint as we come through here. Still on a single carriageway, one lane either direction, separated by a white hazard warning line. There are numerous entrances, I shall only talk of them as and when they become active. Approaching a national speed limit sign now, going to engage drive sport, checking near side mirror, centre mirror, right mirror, shoulder check, nice and safe, and increasing acceleration to a gradual blind right. Limit point is matched for me, so I'm at the correct speed as I negotiate this bend. I don't want to be carrying any more speed than what I've got there. Mirror near side position into a gradual blind right. It's opening up quite nicely for me now, mirrors and picking up the drive. Dead ground here over the crest of this hill, just waiting for the dead ground to open. Now it's open for me, checking the mirrors and picking up the drive. Got a junction coming up to my left, checking the mirrors, mirror position is correct, mirror, signal left, reducing speed by application of the foot brake. I'll aim for this speed to be correct within 2 to 3 car lengths. Mirrors, off brakes, speed's correct, gear's correct, final mirror check, shoulder check, and apply the correct degree of acceleration to negotiate and leave the hazard safely. Checking the mirrors, mirror, shoulder check position, and coming out. So all about bends and limit points as we come down here, still subject of national, raising my vision up to a gradual blind right, slowing the carriageway and a loss of vision over the hill crest. Mirror near side position, keep myself tucked well in here to the near side for this gradual blind right. Happy to maintain this power, losing this limit point as we come around here. It's just opening now for me, mirrors and picking up the drive. Firming up the drive into a sharp deviation of route to the left, slowing the carriageway. Checking the mirrors, they are safe behind me. Limit point is opening nicely. Got one looking to emerge, going to see if the grey one is coming out and settling. They have settled, mirror near side position of safety away from them in any case. Checking my mirrors and maintaining this acceleration as we come through here. Speed's 55 in a 60 at the moment. Mirror near side position into a gradual blind right. The limit point's still opening for me, so I can carry speed round here. Got the van a little bit wide in his lane. Ridgeons is over the white line, so I'm tucking into the near side rather than where I want to be, out towards the crown of the road. Mirror near side position. Again, I spoke about positioning for safety, didn't I? Safety, view and stability. If I can afford myself the option to get to the crown of the road for a left bend, then I will do, but if that's compromised, I will sacrifice it. Into a gradual blind right, just driving this bend as we come around here, mirror offside position. Good example for a left bend here. I want to be towards the crown of the road. There's no reason to sacrifice this position and maintaining this, linking the bend to the next one, mirror near side position, and maintaining this acceleration. Telegraph cut poles are giving me an indication of where the road may go, but I can't take that as a given because they can cut straight across fields or indeed across the road surface, which they've just done there. Checking the mirrors. Got some activity over here on the offside, making sure the postman's not out and about. No, they're not. Checking the mirrors. Got a pedestrian in the carriageway off to the right hand side. Actually, dog walker. So pedestrian with dog. Contrary to rule 56 of the highway code, mirrors and picking up the drive, firming up the drive now, nice and safe. Just mirrors and off the accelerator for the time being. So we're coming into a series of bends, slowing the carriageway, mirror position. Limit point is matched for me as we come around here. Speed of the vehicle out of the bend gives me an indication as to how severe it is. Mirror near side position, keeping the power on as we come around here. Into a gradual blind at right, maintaining the power on this bend, keeping myself tucked into the near side, into another gradual blind at right, trying to put my teeth in. Vision up into an acute blind left. This limit point is not opening for me. Mirrors and brakes, firm brakes, off brakes. Now it's starting to creep for me. Creeping limit point, now it's matched. Checking the mirrors, maintaining it's matched. Picking up the drive into a run. Mirror near side position into a gradual blind right. Coming into the near side, starting to open nicely for me this limit point. Vision up now, mirrors, and increasing speed. Coming into what looks like an acute blind left at the moment. Limit point's not opening for me. Still not opening. Just reducing speed by acceleration sense. Now it's matched. So I've matched that on acceleration sense. No need for brakes. Mirrors. Increasing acceleration. Firming up the drive now. Briskly up to 60 miles an hour. Mirror near side position. Lost the vision over the crown here, so I've got a zone of invisibility rather than dead ground. Round. Checking my mirrors, it's nice and safe. Land Rover away from me, mirror position towards the crown of the road for a gradual blind left. The point is still opening for me here, so I'm looking towards the right verge and I'm still getting more information about this bend as I come round here. Got a couple of vehicles towards me, three in fact, mirror near side position of safety away from them. Don't want to be any closer than this because of the potholes to the near side, mirrors, and maintaining this as we come through here. Keeping the drive on at the moment, we're 59 miles an hour at the moment in a 60, so we're carrying a good speed down here, mindful of a little bit more surface water and a loss of vision as we come over here. Got amber back to road signs, anticipating hazards, mirrors. See the vehicles coming through here, mirror near side position, and keeping it tucked in for this gradual blind right. Double bend, first to the left, reduce speed now, associated dangers and slowing the carriageway, mirror position. Gradual blind left now. Limit point is matched for me. I need to maintain this speed on this curved path, just keeping the acceleration on. Into an acute blind right, mirror near side position and brakes, off brakes. Picking up the drive as the limit point opens for me. Firming up the drive, maintaining discipline and increasing speed. Now mirrors are off the accelerator, cover the brakes to be 50 at 50, entering the 50 mile an hour at 50, checking my mirrors, it is nice and safe. I'm going to keep it in drive sport for the time being, just because it's quite undulating down here, and by having that sport setting, it's going to give me a better acceleration sense when I come off the pedal to allow the vehicle to slow. And similarly, when I need the progress, I've got the power there instantly. Checking the mirrors, another advanced warning for a flood, and we're coming into Fifield. Slowing the carriageway, junction to the near side, nobody waiting to emerge, mirror near side position. I can make the use of the road and just maintaining this 50 through the 50. So I've got a zone of invisibility. So I'm coming down here, try and cover that now as well for you, the differences in roadcraft where we've got zone of invisibility. I can see the way in but can't see the way out of the road. And an area of dead ground whereby I can see the way in, I can see the way out, but there's a bit in the middle of the road which is blind to me. So that is dead ground. That's the two differences that we might see. So one could argue, as we're coming around this gradual blind at right, this is a zone of invisibility because I can't see round the right hand bend. But we mainly only equate that to areas of the road where we have a loss of vision. Checking the mirrors, keeping the speed down though, slow through here as we're in the 30s at the moment. Don't want to be going any faster than 30. Out of drive sport, just maintaining 30 miles an hour throughout town. So whilst we're through the village here, I'm going to expect an increase in vehicular and pedestrian activity. Still subject to 30 miles an hour, and we can still talk about the bends into a gradual blind left. mirror position towards the crown of the road. Position is correct. Speed is correct at 30 miles an hour. I'm in the auto today, so obviously the gearbox is taken care of for the gear for me. I've got this black Golf or something, looks like they're parked to the junction left, just making sure. No, they're not actually looking my way, it's not a problem. Madam's staying in there. Parking places to near side and offside, it's nice and safe. We've got a finger post for Morton. We've got the two vehicles towards. Checking my mirrors. That black one has now come out and settled and is coming my way. Change road speed into the 50 with a mirror and shoulder check. Back into drive sport. Mindful of the transit van. Looks like they're parking up. They can't come out there. Mirrors. Increasing acceleration. Mirror near side position. Warning for humps on this side road here. Won't affect me though. So we're in a perfectly matched limit point down here. I've only got 50 miles an hour to play with. I'm at 50 down here. So it's a gradual blind right. I've adopted the correct position, having checked my mirrors, raising my vision up to this string of vehicles now. So warning for farm traffic. There's a junction on this left bend. Checking my mirrors, slowing the carriageway for the associated hazards. That's going to be there for this junction. Got a secluded entrance mirror, scanning in there, nice and safe to the junction. Mirrors and maintaining acceleration away from it. Coming into the Nationals, checking all three mirrors, shoulder check, and increasing acceleration briskly up to 60 into a gradual blind right mirror near side position. Linking this bend into the next one's coming out towards the crown. I'm going to sacrifice that position now because of the two vehicles towards me, maintaining the normal driving position in the centre of my lane. Mirrors are nice and safe behind me. I've got two on a short follow, but not too much of a problem. I've got one towards now, and raising my vision up to the next bend, which is a gradual blind at right mirror near side position. Link it to the next bend, looks like it's going to the left and then right thereafter. In fact it is, little kink. We're coming down to a gradual blind at right. The limit point is opening for me though, so mirror near side position. So creeping limit point now to a change of road speed to 50. I can do this on acceleration sense, so I'm just off the accelerator. Warning for roadworks. Single file traffic, road narrows from the left. Now scanning to the left. Looks like Bovis Homes are building some new properties down here. Not a problem for me. And just maintaining the speed as we come in this gradual blind left vision up to a gradual blind right mirror near side position. I'm still subject to 50 miles an hour. I'm doing 41 miles an hour through here, which is nice and safe and prescribed to the limit point. A little bit of increase of vision here, so picking up the drive to 50 miles an hour, but no more. This vehicle coming around this gradual blind at right, checking my mirrors, nice and safe behind me. Mirror near side position for this gradual blind right, slowing the carriageway and a change of road speed into the 30. So mirrors and brakes, gently off the brake pedal, out of drive sport, into normal drive, and just maintaining 30 as we're coming through the village here. Nice and safe behind me. So that's a little bit about bends and limit points there. We spoke obviously about the different types of bends that we encounter. 8 types of bends, 6 types of words to describe them. Generally speaking, the 4 types of words we will use to describe limit points themselves: static, creeping, matched, running, and obviously whether or not, as a result of your actions and obviously getting it right as to what the limit point is doing, according a driving plan as to whether or not you're going to increase acceleration or decrease acceleration, obviously to maintain stability. I hope it's been of use to you guys. Obviously you want to log on to WardADT, keeps you developed or keeps you in the loop about the courses that are coming up. And obviously I'll try and get as many videos updated as I possibly can. So thanks for watching. All the best.